Let's see, it is, dates today. Today's the 15th of February, almost halfway through the month. At 1:37 a.m. Just got up from my dialysis nap. Weather here at Siegel South has kind of moderated. I know that you folks up at Siegel North are not going to be very impressed, but turns out that this is the coldest winter that we've had here in 30 years. And that just happens to correspond to the time that Tiana and I have been married, when the first year that we were together, 1984, 83, 84, during the winter. And there was one period of time there where it went below 30 for over a month. Never rose above 30. And if any of you are familiar with Texas, this is some unusual stuff. But I want to say that we've had 47 or 48 days this year, but below 32 degrees, but they haven't been in a row. But it's been real cold. And one thing, blessing, is the grass hadn't grown. Usually during the winter around here, I have to cut the grass from time to time because it'll just keep right on, or the weeds, it'll just keep on growing. But it's been so cold this year, it knocked it back. I was noticing out there, I'm getting some sprigs that are about ankle high. I'm going to have to break down, get out the mower here next week or so, knock it down. Also, I'm having a really good crop of winter corruption weeds. They're not high, but they're there. We have a thing called sheep's head clover. Have another cigarette. Don't mind if I do. Anyway, I treated the sheep's head clover last year and it went away. And we had a nice stand of Bermuda grass, but it's making a comeback. And I've got probably, I don't know, 80, 100 pounds of treatment stuff in plastic bags out there. And I'm going to have to hook up the dispenser behind the the lawnmower, and dispense some of it. One of the problems I've run into is we have Pharaoh cats around here. They're nice. Some will let you pet them, some of them won't. But we try to keep them around. We do live out in the country, and we have critters. Mice, field mice, rats, snakes. And one thing, if you've got 6 or 8 cats living under the house and in the barn and whatnot, they keep these critters down. They eat them, kill them. And we've got one, call him Fonzie. Boy, I mean, he's tough on them. I mean, at least a time or two a day we'll see him going across the yard with some kind of dead thing. But anyway, Fonz is doing his job. He helps keep down the vermin. We've got a couple that originally were Pharaoh animals. We have Smokey too. Those of you that remember Smokey from the last couple of years. Well, Smokey last summer when we went away for the summer, when we got back, Smokey was gone. But he obviously tended to business, shall we say, while we were gone, and there were some kittens just like him, identical. And one was a male and the other's a female, and there was Fonz. Well, he stays outside. Fonzie stays outside. I think there's another little female out there, and they're all gray or silver. Beautiful, beautiful animals. Well, anyway, Smokey too came in. He is now a house cat. And Frosty, which is a really loving female, she's in the house. They become house cats. and they enjoy it. They lay on Tiana's desk, just generally, have the good life. I'm a little apprehensive about when we go back to New York. We're going to have to put them outside, and I hope they stay around. But anyway, we've got indoor cats and outdoor cats. What else? What's going on around here? Oh, my president. Now, all of you said it almost every time on tapes. Democrat, liberal, sometimes socialist. But as a rule, I always vote Democrat. It's just on principles. The philosophical base of the two parties is such that I can't do anything else. And Obama, being a Democrat, of course, I was for him. I really wanted Hillary, but Obama came along, and I thought, well, he'd be all right. And he's still a Democrat. But I got to tell you that over the years that he's been in, his activity in the White House at times has left me with something to be desired. The original thought and plan behind the health care plan, I was for it. American public was being raped by the medical establishment. People, when they died and went to their graves, they went broke because the system was set up that when you got old and you got indigent and you were down, if you got chronically ill, which you always do, it's just part of aging, the medical establishment took everything you had. I mean, if you weren't Bill Gates or that top 5 or 6% where you had 90% of the nation's wealth, and you went to your grave broke. And and there were a lot of people that didn't have any medical care at all. I mean, they were strictly on the dole, so to speak. If you got sick, you went to the emergency room. If you were in the hospital, it was all paid on the public coffers. And the Health Care Act was supposed to correct some of these things, and I suspect after a fashion it does. But in some ways it's been a bloody disaster. The rollout, as they say, I don't know who did the planning. I don't know whether it was Obama or whether he just told some of his underlings go do this thing, but it wasn't very well handled. And I still think that the general principle of the thing is a good idea. But boy, it's been a debacle. And then this past week, of course, now Obama, the righties accuse Obama of being egotistical, ass. Well, this past week, the French president came for a state visit, and I guess all was going well, but they were walking around somewhere in Washington. I want to say they were outdoors, and they were looking at the sights. And, of course, they had a lot of news media following them around. And Obama and the French president were bandying back and forth. And the microphones were open. And they overheard Obama saying, and I heard it, it wasn't a figment of my imagination. I heard Obama, they were talking about something. Maybe it was a Washington Monument, I don't know. It was some edifice. And there was some comment that the French president made about something about it. And Obama, loud enough so that the microphones, which were open, said, "That's all right. I can do whatever I want to do. I'm the president." The man needs to watch what he's saying. I mean, they accuse him of being, a monarchy type of guy. I gotta do anything. I run the country. But he said it. The president doesn't say that out in public. I mean, I always give him credit for being a very smart guy, and I still think he is. But the president should not say in public. I'm sure they all said it. I've said George Jr. said it. George Sr. said it. I'm sure Nixon said it. I'm sure Reagan said it. I'm sure all of them have said it personally with their friends and everything. But you don't out in the public say, I can do anything I want to do. I'm the president. Well, hey there, Mr. Prez. You're voted in by your constituents, by your American, populace. And you can't do anything you want to do just because you're the president. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. You do what you're supposed to do. You keep your jib shut in front of the microphones. You're getting me down. Oof. Anyhow, hey, Louis the Lip there. He did it. I have had a thought about something that I've been observing on television. Got my cue cards here. And I don't know if anybody paid attention, but you watch television and you listen to the radio, and on these programs on there, they're all sponsored by advertising. Advertisers come on and they pitch their products. And in times past, there was a good cross-section of products. I mean, they pitched cars, which they still do. They pitched soap products, Ivory Snow. They pitched toothpaste, cigarettes. I almost wish they hadn't taken cigarettes off. Some of those ads were good. The Marlboro Man, remember him in his coat with the big fur collar? He was a real person. I understand he died of emphysema, but But the pitch was good. It was some of them were almost entertaining. A lot of them weren't. Anywho, I remember Slinkies. You remember Slinkies? It was a big, long wire. When you mushed it together, it was about this big. And I remember when I was a kid, I had a Slinky. And the one thing that I could do with my Slinky, I lived in up at Siegel North, in a 3-story big brick house, and it had stairs. And those of you that might have had a Slinky, you could take the Slinky and put it at the top of the stairs, and it would go down the stairs. That thing would once you tipped it over, it was heavy enough that it would stay at the top step, but the spring would go over and it would go down to the next step, and then the end would come up and boop, and then it would the momentum would make it override, and it would go to the next step and the next step and the next step, and it would go down the steps. It was a neat thing. Super balls. I remember under that step that we had stairs that came down from our second floor. I had there was a closet. The stairs were enclosed, and there was under the part of the stairs where it was way up to the second floor. Down there was a door down the first floor. You opened the door, and there was this big closet. It was wedge shaped. Now, let me tell you something. If you ever had a Super Ball, they were the type of thing, and it was blue, I remember. You take it and you drop it, and it would bounce back at about 99% of the height you dropped it from. I used to take that thing and I'd open that closet under those stairs, man, and I'd throw that Super Ball in there, boom, and I'd close the door. You ain't never heard such a racket. Blam, bang, 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 that thing be bouncing around in there. Anyway, but Super Bowl, they advertised Super Balls. It was big stuff. Cars, Super Balls. Well, been watching TV here last long time. And the one thing that I've noticed is that they don't advertise soap powder. They still advertise cars, but not as much. It seems like that what they advertise is, let's see, what do they call that? DT or TD. Do you know what TD is? They do it all the time. Testosterone deficiency. How many guys out there in the world are sitting around, boy, I got a testosterone deficiency? I mean, I'm 75 here in just about a couple of months. And you might say I was maybe a late bloomer if we talk about these type of things. But in all my experience, nobody ever mentioned it to me. I mean, I knew, it was testosterone. It's a thing that makes the guys go. When did every man in the world sit down and get worked up in a sweat over his testosterone was right? I see this thing on television. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but where'd it go? What did I do with my test? Oh, yes. They have an ad. Guy's got this aerosol can, man. You see him in front of here. I'm not going to strip down. He's got his arm up. Let's see here. Yeah, I got a hair. His arm's been shaved under. But he's got this testosterone on. He's over to the other. I got the testosterone, yeah. Now I'm a man. And they show some smile, and his wife comes up with a big grin, I don't have to spray anything under my arms. Hey, honey, I think you look good. Yeah, well, that's an ad on television, and they run it interminably. I mean, it's on there. I tell you what, on the 5 o'clock news, my wife and I, we eat dinner together. We usually, we don't eat breakfast, except on my off dialysis days. But we eat 2 or 3 meals a day. We sit down at the table, we eat, and we talk, and we got the little TV run over there because there's usually news on. And at least in that 30 minutes, they will run 3 testosterone ads in there. Boy, I mean, it's, the world's going to hell in a handbasket if you don't augment your testosterone. Yeah. I don't know why. It just strikes me as kind of strange. Oh, boy. Let's see. Skin medications. Evidently, everybody in the world's got psoriasis. Now, this is really not to be made light of because I've known, maybe in my lifetime, 4 people that had bad psoriasis. And it was, I don't know what the percentile of the American public is that has psoriasis, but it is no fun. It's, I would be ashamed if I had it. But, somebody correct me. 1% maybe of the American population, has got psoriasis. If you listen to the TV ads, you'd think everybody had it. Maybe they're catering to the baby boomers. As they get older. Actually, I'm older than the baby boomers. I was born before the Second World War, so I'm a pre-baby boomer. But maybe as the baby boomers age, they're more susceptible to these things. So there's more of a need. But psoriasis, let me say, oh yeah, they got one. Okay, hang on here. Where'd he go? There's that ad that's on all the time. And the one that there's a woman that jumps up and talks to the people around her. And the one that comes to mind is on a plane. And what she does, they'll all be sitting there, and all of a sudden she jumps up and she just wants to know if anybody in the group experiences flatulence or stomach cramps. or the things that go along with that. We all do. Never saw anybody get up in a public place and say, "Hey man, you having trouble with gas?" Good looking lady too. And of course, everybody sits there transfixed. Oh my, I'm glad you asked. That's another ad. What are we coming to? Flatulism? Yeah. Hang on here. Oh yeah, I already did the Obama thing. Let me see. Got a gal doing flatulism. Dread curse of low T. Yeah. Which causes ED. Erectile deficiency. How do we gently talk about that? How many of you have seen the ads? I mean, let's face it. Guys are going to be guys. Are all guys? Is everybody, all the boys, are they all having erectile deficiencies? I don't think so. That was, I don't know, overstate anything, but I never was overwhelmed with the worry about, that. It just wasn't. But I mean, you see ads you see two people sitting in tubs. You ever watched that when they're sitting out on the side of a lake in two old cat claw bathtubs? Those are the ones that are real high sides, and they got the feet have got like cat claws sitting down. These things are high, and it comes right up under their arms, and each one's got their own bathtub, and they're holding hands over there. Now, I want to tell you something. When I was thinking about, I wasn't out with matching bathtubs. It didn't happen. The heck with matching bathtubs. I don't know who got that idea, but it's pretty lame. Anyway, I think Park Avenue advertising agencies have gone completely out of their minds. Bring back who was the little doll? Barbie and Ken. Of course, they might be on Saturday morning, but I don't see them anymore. Barbie and Ken. I'd almost say bring back put cigarette advertising on TV. I don't see as much beer advertising, but they dang sure. LT. They given these little letter designations. LT, ED. They got one for COPD. RA. I mean, sometimes you sit there and say, what are they talking about? Of course, usually they explain it, more to where you know what they're talking about. But anyway, advertising world's gone to places in a handbasket. Okay, let's see if I got any other little gems of wisdom here. Advertising. I remember when Alka-Seltzer ran an ad, and a guy sat there and he was doing a commercial, and the commercial was supposed to be about a meatball. I think this thing has been voted somewhere over the eons, because this was back like in the late 50s, early 60s. But anyway, he would pick it up, put it in his mouth, and go, "Bubba Bia, that's a spicy meatball." And of course, they were advertising, eat the spicy meatball, you get the you get the acid stomach, and he did this about, in very short order, about 30, 40 seconds. He did it 6, 8 times. I remember at the end, you think, they keep taking retakes, but it was a good ad. And not anymore. Not anymore. Now all they want to talk about is testosterone, erectile deficiency, stuff like that. Anywho, I suspect that I have gone on long enough. Let's see. I saw my son on TV, on Facebook. I had a little trouble with the site that he put on there. But it's, you're going to do what you're going to do. Brian Cooter. It isn't Brian Cooter, it's Cooter. Cooter is Brian's CB handle. Hope you had a good one. I haven't talked to you in a week or so. Haven't had anything break. I guess that's good. Cooter came in, by the way, this week ago. Tomorrow, fixed our washing machine. My darling, one of those sub-freezing days we had. Inside the washing machine, there's a little feed. Your hot and cold water comes into the back of the washing machine, and then it goes in. There's a little, looks like a radiator hose, a little piece of hose that runs up, fills up the tub agitator thing. And that exploded. And Brian came down, tore our washing machine apart, fixed it. We had to do a little run around, get some parts. But did a good job, so I don't know what to do without you, guy. Crystal, glad to see you're getting up in the world. They need to pay you more money. Crystal's one of my people at services down at the clinic, and they put a whole bunch of new responsibility on her and no additional remuneration, so they need to do that. My son Carl and Kyle, glad you got yourself a job. Tracy, you're faithful. You always watch my stuff here. Heizenrader, sorry about the snow. Hardy har. It snowed at Mr. Heizenrader's place down in the Carolinas. Of course, I think it snowed everywhere, but they really got blitzed. I saw some pictures of the snow. In fact, Richard Stenta, he also lives in Raleigh. I'm not sure they don't both live. I think Heizenrader and Mr. Stenta both live in Raleigh, and they both got snowed on. I need to call you, Richard. I will here probably day after tomorrow. Ike, have a fun one. Daryl Mackey. I haven't called David. I got the distinct impression that the last time I talked to him, he was not in the mood to talk. So I haven't done it. I'm going to have to figure out a way to get an update. Tyler, I hope all things are well with you. Carl in Bradford, I'm having some input. They want to send me to Holy Ann. So I'll be up there anyway. I don't know if I'll be in Bradford, but there's some scuttlebutt that they're going to send me to Holy Ann. Jim Kersey, I'm glad your meds came back right. Boy, let me tell you, there isn't anything bring up the sphincter fracture more than what you went through. I've done that. And yeah, I guess it's part of the aging thing. We're going to have those moments of draw up. But I'm glad for you. I hope it stays that way. Look to see you this summer. And got to go get a steak. Yep. Anyway, I hope this one goes a little better than my last one. My last one was kind of lame, but I really didn't have much to say. So, you folks up there at Siegel North saved me a spot. I think we're going to come up to the end of May, maybe first part of June. Have a fine one.